Jake Butt here, guys, live down from the National Championship Convention Center down in Houston, and we got some big-time news for you guys, Michigan faithful. We need your help to keep our team. Last year, Champion Circle launched the One More Year Fund to support key players coming back, like Blake Corum, Trevor Keegan, and Zach Sinner, who elected to return to Michigan for one more year. Now we're launching the Those Who Stay NIL campaign. Our rivals are coming after many of our key players, trying to induce them to leave Michigan. It's time for the Michigan family to show our players how much we appreciate them and want them back in the maize and blue. To keep the momentum going, head over to thosewhostayufm.com. Again, that is thosewhostayufm.com to support. Go Blue. All right, welcome into the Lab, presented by Champion Circle. This is the national championship version of the Lab. Head over to championcircleufm.com. Find out how you can support your national champion student athletes. And there's really no better person, no better human, no better player, no better leader, no better captain than Mikey Sainristil to join us here for the next 30 minutes and talk about the experience, talk about the journey, reflect on what this means and all the bigger themes that I know you guys are curious of hearing about. So, Mikey, I made the comment, you look refreshed. Your skin looks great. Your eyes look rejuvenated. I've been bouncing around. I don't even know if I'm fully refreshed after it. So these past few days, man, how has the celebration been for you?
Celebration's been awesome. Like you mentioned about, how I'm looking, how I'm feeling is like the past 2 days, I've been able to get the most sleep I've been able to in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Finally being back home, everything's settling down a little bit. It's actually going to pick back up this weekend with the parade, which I'm super excited for.
Yeah.
But, just taking every moment in, this we're in a category now that a lot of people can never say that they'll be in or can say that they've been in. And so now we're a part of a elite percentage of, athletes when it comes to being national champions. And I wouldn't trade it for anything right now. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
It feels super special. And this is what I came back for, to be a part of this with the group of guys that I was able to accomplish this with, to play for Coach Harbaugh one more year. And, we made it everything that we said we were going to.
But you earned it. It feels special to me. When I say to me, it feels special from what I would, just from observing you guys. And you know better than anyone. The guys in the locker room know better than anyone, obviously, right? But I would imagine a part of the reason it feels special is because of the journey and the path to get here. Not just this year. I mean, this year certainly was a roller coaster of a year for many different reasons. But it's been 3 years in the making. For you, it's even been longer than that. I mean, you switched positions. You fell in love. You are going to be a father. I mean, I think about, just getting to know you over the years and building a friendship with you, man. It's been nuts to watch. But is that part of it, right? Like, I don't want to discredit Georgia or Alabama or Clemson or anyone. Like, they get their flowers too. But for a while there, it was like, okay, the college football space runs through Georgia, Alabama, Clemson. And it was almost an expectation. For you guys, it's been a few years in the making to get to just this year when it actually was an expectation. Can you talk about that journey?
I would just say for us, it was understanding that we actually have to fall in love with the process. And, the older guys who decided to come back knew that we wouldn't be able to get to a national championship level without truly embracing what the process of getting there was, which is another year with Coach Herb, another year of camp, another year of, meetings where you're going to be tired some days. And, like you mentioned about those teams in the past, like rightfully so, they deserve to be where they were because of the process that they went through, the work they put in to get themselves to that point. And, we did things this year that, changing our mindset, changing who we were as people, changing who we were as individuals allowed us to change over the course of 3 years to get to where this team is today. And without, making those necessary changes, without falling in love with the process, without recommitting yourself each and every single day. Um, without having a true team bond, without, having a coach that really loves you, you won't be as successful as you think you can be, no matter what your talent level is.
Can you talk about the journey you've had? I mean, can you think about to when you committed to Michigan? What was the perception? What was your perception of the team, and what do you think like the public perception, the college football landscape perception was of the team?
When I committed, I would say I knew I was committing to a very good football team with potential to, continue getting better. Um, you know, I don't think that Michigan was in a bad spot when I committed. I think the year I came in, we had just finished a 10-2 or 9-3 season. Um, and that's in a lot of people's eyes, like that's a great record. To our eyes, that's not our standard. You know what I mean? Just how great this program is, how historically great this program is. And that's what I mean by potential to get better. And I just wanted to be a part of the group that definitely catapulted, the level of play that is here. And, part of the reason I committed was Cade McNamara told me, if you commit here, we're going to win a championship together.
Hmm.
And we ended up doing that. In 21, we won the Big Ten championship. And, just speaking little things like that into existence is what we've done over the past 3 years, changing our mindset ever since that COVID year. And, Coach Harbaugh said in the email he sent out to the team is just be a Michigan man. And that was like pretty much the whole, email summarizes just be a Michigan man. And I'm, it's a true honor to say that one, myself, I'm a Michigan man, and I'm surrounded by a bunch of Michigan men.
Hmm. It, you know, I know Cade said that, right? But it seemed he said that ahead of really no one. No one believed that besides you guys, right? Did you believe him in that moment?
Um, kind of,
Kind of.
I felt that one part of me was like, okay, it could just be him trying to get me to, flip type of thing. But at the same time, like, hearing that from the guy that's probably gonna start at the school one day, two highly recruited quarterback, um, that instantly told me the type of person Kay was. And it also helped me, form a mindset of, all right, I'm coming here to be great. I'm not coming here just to be a part of the team. I'm coming here to, you know, prove myself, get guys around me even better because I know that the guys that are committing in my class are guys that want to be great as well.
Hmm. How about the journey? Because I really just think, Mikey, as with you being our guest on the show today, you have such an unbelievable individual story, and I think your story helps paint the picture of the selflessness of this team. Um, can you take us back to the journey, the moment when Coach Harbaugh said, "Hey, I think I want to play you on the defensive side of the football." Um, did you anticipate that conversation happening? Do you remember how it made you feel in that moment and what was said?
I didn't actually ever think, coach was going to call me and tell me, um, I want you to play defense. You know, for 2 years, I was joking around about playing defense. I took a few practice reps during COVID because guys were hurt, guys were sick. So we just needed to fill in different positions. So I took a few practice snaps. And then at the end of the 21 season, going into 22, coach calls me during right before winter workouts. And he says, I want you to play defense this year. Um, and I instantly was like, all right, coach, let's do it. Like, it wasn't any thoughts in my mind. I was like, why is he choosing you? Or nah, tell him you still want to play receiver. The next day, I was upstairs in the film room with Steven Adagoki, who's now with the Texans. We were up there going over zone coverages, learning different drops, curl flat, my third, what a post safety is. He was teaching me fronts. I was up there just learning defense right away. And, that was simply because I wanted to make sure that when making the switch, I was helping more than I was, um, being a setback. And I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure I was doing everything I can to help the defense, help the team. And I knew I was filling in big shoes with Dax Hill being the nickel that just left the year before. So
Yeah. Oh man, it's I know most people probably understand how hard it is. Hey, you're playing receiver, you're playing offense, now you're playing nickel, now you're playing defense, and nickel has its own challenges because of all the space you got to cover. But what you talk about there is learning the whole new language. Like it is a literal new language. It is a literal new reframing of your mind. And for you, like when you make some of these plays, like I mean, you know, with the final one being the interception that you had returned all the way down inside the 10-yard line, Blake Corum was able to punch it in. Like I think interceptions happen, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But those interceptions happen. A large part of why interceptions happen is because of this, like because of your understanding of your role within the larger scheme of the defense, your role, your leverage within your zone, your leverage against your man, where your safety help is, where the help is around you. And hey, are we sending a pressure, are we sending a pressure and the blitz is going to force a throw to happen early, or are we only rushing 3 or 4 and I may have to sit on this route and cover him for longer? Can you talk about the difference in the mindset and kind of expand on what I just said, if you do agree with it?
yeah, I would say certain coverages allow you to use help more than others. When you're sending pressure, there's a clock in your head that tells you like the ball is going to come out sooner. So you have to hold your leverage, like zero pressure. You don't want to get beat inside. You want to force every route to go over top of you. Um, and then, understanding where my help is like, do I have a low hold defender that's popping out in my slant window? Do I have a post defender who is, gonna play over top on an inside fade or whatever, deeper route there is. Um, and then just understanding how the coverage works with the pass rush. You want to give those guys upfront time to do their job. And, the better you are able to cover a guy downfield, the more time they have to keep a quarterback in the pocket. And, our defense was able to show that
Yeah,
many times this season. Just and it feels good as a DB knowing that like we call those coverage sacks.
yeah,
Um, when you cover for a longer period of time, those guys up front get to eat, but um, and when they're up there eating, they force a bad throw, and if you're doing your job, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're where you're supposed to be. The ball's gonna come your way. It finds the ones that's doing the right things all the time.
that's exactly right, man. It's hey, when you do the right thing, you just show up, you show up, you show up. Eventually you're going to be in the right place, and then you have an opportunity to make a play. Not a guarantee, but an opportunity, and you've made the most of your opportunities this year. um, I don't want to. I asked you that just to help our viewers better understand, the challenge of what you took on and what you've been able to overcome, because you've been such a big part of this defense and this team. But you even embracing that challenge, like the selflessness, like what that does for younger players, to see, wait a second, Mikey just, he was trending up as a receiver. You're doing some nice things. You probably went into the offseason like, hey, I want to get better and get some more targets, find more ways to for the team to use me. And Coach Harbaugh had different plans, and the selflessness you had to just say yes, coach, whatever it takes. I mean, that to me is culture, and that to me is a championship culture. But I do want to spend some time talking about you know the the things beyond the game. And you kind of mentioned, you said, hey, I'm a Michigan man, and I'm curious, because I feel my time at Michigan, it changed me as a person, it changed me as a man. Like it did so many things for me beyond football. And I'm curious for you, as you think about that question, like how have you changed from the time you were, do you remember how old you were when you walked on campus? I was 17 years old. I was an early enrollee in high school. Do you remember how old you were?
18, early
18.
enrollee,
You're in your whole, how old now?
23.
23, 5 years, 5 big years. Like that's a huge moment in, young people's lives. Like, how have you changed as a person?
I would say, I definitely think I would have grown, I would have matured, of course, but I don't think I'm the person I am today if I don't flip to Michigan. Um,
Mm,
the relationships I've built, the people I've met, the you know, the advice I've been given, um, like there's no Greg Harden anywhere else. There's no Claiborne Green anywhere else. There's no, Maurice Washington anywhere else. Um,
mhm,
and just think about the people that have walked out
mm,
this building, walked out this university, the names, like when they tell you don't be a football player when you go to class, like sit in the front, don't have your hoodie on because the person next to you could be the next whatever you want to call it. Like
yeah.
that's very true at this university. And um I'm not finding that anywhere else. And I'm super happy that, as an 18-year-old, I was able to sit down with my parents and, you know, be open minded to the fact that they really loved it when we visited here. Um, I loved it when I visited here, and ultimately, it was the best decision.
Yeah. Why do you think Michigan was able to change you? Like you said, hey, I don't think you would have changed to the level that you did here at Michigan if you hadn't committed to Michigan. Like, why? What is it about the university? What is it about Coach Harbaugh or Coach Herbert or the locker room or just Michigan in general?
Just being surrounded by people who genuinely care about others, people who have genuine love for others, and people who truly want to see you be successful. Um, like you've mentioned, like we've already mentioned in this earlier, no one around here is selfish. No one around here thinks about themselves. Um, everyone truly is looking for like everyone has the next person's best interest. Um, and that just like that's a steady flow throughout, Schembeckler Hall. Um, like we all just truly care about each other, love each other, and
Yeah.
that's just our culture. Um, and I think like outside of football, when you're surrounded by those type of people, like you are what you're around, and I've been able to gravitate towards that, and it's allowed people to gravitate towards the person I am, and it's helped me become a leader, living up to expectations of people
Hmm.
who came before me, like, seeing guys like Hutch in the program, guys like Quiddy. I didn't have a chance to play with
Yeah.
you, but knowing the things that you did when you were here, like knowing what came before me, it was like, okay, this is what the program looked like. Let me, you know, Olu said this one time. Um, I forgot exactly how he said it. I think it was emulate. There was one more thing in there, and then he said surpass. So pretty much like
Mm.
copy what it is that you see, um, turn it into your own thing, and then take
Oof.
it to a different level.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what not just myself was able to do, but everyone that entered the program with me, and the younger guys right now seeing the standard that the older guys have, and living up to that standard. And one day that standard is going to be theirs, and they're going to have to show the guys after them what that
Yeah.
standard is.
Man, that's beautiful. That's so true. I mean, emulate, okay, like, especially when you're young, like I'm getting engaged next year. Like, we want to set my fiance and I want to have a family. And I'm thinking about like, hey, what I know this applies to you, like fatherhood. And I'm like, hey man, I was really lucky and blessed. So I want to emulate, what my, parents did. Then I want to kind of settle in and figure out like, hey, how can I put my own spin on it? But then the ultimate goal is to surpass. And that's like a principle that applies to all things in life. And it's amazing that you guys, as, just young men, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, as you were saying, there are able to, live that, understand it, and, apply it on a day-to-day basis. Can you talk about the defensive performance? Because when you talk about selflessness, you guys have called yourself the no-star defense. And I just think that that's so beautiful. That Washington Husky team, no one had shut them down like that. No one had shut them down like that. No one had brought pressure and disrupted Penix like you guys did. Can you talk about the performance you guys had on Monday night down there in Houston?
Again, it was just another opportunity for us to prove that we're the number one defense in the country. And no better stage to do it than one on the national championship stage. And, no better opponent than the number one offense in the country.
Right.
Being able to keep Penix on his toes, keep him guessing in terms of what the defensive look was, understanding that, they did a lot of shifting, motioning, a whole bunch of pre-snap stuff. But for us, it was just anticipating what the final formation, play call, or, concept would have been. We knew that they were going to have to throw the ball with, the running back being a little bit banged up.
Yeah.
Or throw the ball, not necessarily more than they wanted to. They still threw it 51 times. That's pretty, normal
It's a
for them.
lot. Yeah.
Um, but they were going to make some plays in the air. That receiving core is very talented. Probably the best we've seen all season. That quarterback, top 10, top 5 potential quarterback. So we knew what it was. But for us, it was just executing as one, knowing coming to the national championship game, all of a sudden wanting to be, the difference maker. Like it was
Yeah.
still 11-on-1 mentality. Do your 1/11th of the defense. Communicate pre-snap, pro-snap. Do the rest of the 4 pillars, which was block, destruct, ball disruption, and tackle with effort and angles. And so for us, it was doing the same things that we've been doing each and every week of the season, being ourselves, having fun together, and ultimately executing at a high level.
You guys, it was a dominant game, but there was some nerves in there for sure, at least from viewer standpoint. Offense comes out firing. I mean, Don, Blake, the run game, I mean, cooking, and it's like, okay, it's gonna be a long day for Washington. And yet, their defense, credit to them, made some adjustments and made it harder on Michigan, until eventually they proved to be too much offensively in the fourth quarter. But what I'm curious is for the defense, I know you guys are probably having a conversation like, guys, like if they don't score on us, this is it. They're not going to win, right? Like if they don't score on us, this is it. We're going to win. Can you talk about the conversation early in that game, first quarter, second quarter, where Michigan's, the offense is dominating, and then it got a little bit more competitive? At that point, when it gets a little bit more competitive, do you remember, was there a conversation on the sidelines at that point?
I remember at halftime, Mike B said to the defense, he said, I think the score was 17-13 going into halftime.
2013, 20 to 13, I
2013.
want to say, yeah.
He said, it's 2013. If they don't score any more points, we win the game. And that's true. Like they don't score no more, like the game is ours, and we're the ones that are in control of what their offense does. So we were just gonna go out there and continue doing everything it is that we're doing.
Yeah.
And we were able to. They didn't put no more points up, right? It was 34-13 final score.
Maybe it was. Yeah. Maybe it was
So,
17-10 at half. Yeah. It was. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, but we were able to do that. Not oh, they might have kicked another field. Dang, why does that feel so long ago?
I know.
But yeah, we were able to hold them to a minimum of 3 points, I think it was, in the second half. So yeah, we said they don't score no more points, we win the game. And as a defense, like that's who we are. Like, please put the game on us.
Yeah.
And let us show you guys what we're really about.
Yeah. You finished that game. You finished the season the way you started with that interception. what's going through your mind when you pick that ball off and you see green grass in front of you and the crowd erupts? I mean, I was down there on the sideline. At that moment, I was like, wow, this is it. I felt this is it. Michigan, you guys, Coach Harbaugh are national champions. That's what's going through my mind. What's going through your mind?
Score. Score. That was the only thing I was thinking about was score. Like, I think I saw more green grass on that one than I did on Michigan State. That interception I had against Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
There was just so much space, so much room. And I'm like, just go score. But I ended up getting shout out to number 37.
37. Shout out to 37 now.
If I'm a coach, I'm drafting that guy. Just
tight end, right?
Heart. Yeah, just off of pure heart. Tight end 37.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
If that's a closer game, that could be a game defying play potentially. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's a 4-point swing if, let's say, they hold us to a field goal.
Yep.
And the game's a lot closer. They come down, score a touchdown, but fortunately that wasn't the scenario. But yeah, like I said, shout out to 37. But yeah, when I got back to the sideline, Coach Mariner was right there waiting to give me a hug. Everybody celebrating, cheering. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to what the score was at the time, so I didn't know if it was actually a game or not. I just knew that the next time we went out, we stopped them and then gave the offense the ball back with a minute, like 20 seconds left. That's when I knew the game was over.
Hey, no, so 37, the tight end. I'm glad you said that because I think Michigan fans, you guys could go turn it on and watch it. That dude was hustling, and he didn't need to hustle. He was on the full opposite side of the field. He's a tight end. He's carrying a lot of weight, and I'll give him a lot of credit, man. For in a game, there was no reason no one would have faulted him if he didn't, but he did. But I will ask you this because when you got tackled, immediately my mind goes to give it to Blake Corum. Give it to number 2 in the fourth quarter in this exact scenario. Like this is where Blake eats. Penn State, he had one. Ohio State, he had one. Of course, Alabama in the Rose Bowl, he had one. All fourth quarter touchdowns to seal the game. How about that, man? You're the senior leader. I know there's a number of guys, but you're one of them. And then Blake is one of them, the senior leader of the offense. So you got the defense and the offense, the two guys that I think in terms of emotional leaders, you guys are up there probably in Michigan history, not even just for this team, in Michigan history. How about that moment when Blake punches it in the end zone?
I was super happy for him, seeing him score a touchdown every game of the season. He's the first person to ever do that, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Just think about the history that he was able to create for himself coming back off of a Heisman run season the year before.
Yeah.
To be able to come back and do the things that he did this year. So, getting the ball back inside the 10, I knew the offense was going to score. And, for it to have been Blake, I'm super happy for him. And, I told him that, him come back to the sideline and, on the plane ride back, just chopping it up. Yeah, I'm super happy for him.
I mean, shoot, even for him to not, he was injured, and I asked him this. I'm like, dude, Blake, there's no promise you'll ever get back to where you were, and especially with him, like that injury was late in the season. And he wasn't really even like jogging or running until like after spring ball, like late spring, early summer. I don't think people really realize how quick that turnaround is. And I was concerned for him. And there it is, man. Humbled myself. Why would I ever bet against Blake Corum, So listen, man, I know you're busy. You got a lot going on. This is a great week to celebrate. So I just have a few more questions in closing. I think fans would be curious to hear about what that plane ride back was like.
I know the first class, nobody in first class was asleep. We all were up, joking around, laughing. And if you want to see, it's going to be out on my YouTube episode.
Okay. Perfect.
So stay tuned for that. But yeah, it was fun. Coaches were coming up to the front. Actually, quick story from the Rose Bowl plane ride back. Coach Harbaugh comes up front He goes, when I was with the 49ers, they turned the first class into a casino. So he
Sounds
was
about
like,
right.
yeah, he was like, none of that up here, none of that up here. Just have fun, talk, enjoy the plane ride. But yeah, just the vibes were great. Guys were talking, guys were walking to the back of the plane, telling guys come up front, come hang
Yeah.
out. Just so much more room up there for, more people to be in front and just, enjoy that last little moment together.
Yeah. There's one thing I know about NFL, man. Like those dudes love to gamble, love to gamble. So I've seen it with my own two eyes. But have you ever seen that March Madness clip where, I forget who it was. Maybe it was a player from Gonzaga, and he was asked, like, hey, like, what are you going to miss most about your career or your time at college? And he like thinks about it for a second. And then he said, the meals, like going out to eat. And it's like, I think about what you're just saying there on the plane ride. And without getting into specifics, what you're really talking about is the brotherhood and like those moments where you're so tense in a game, like so like fight or flight, full of adrenaline, have to go compete, and then like the plane ride home is it's in between. You don't have to get prepared for the game next week. You get to kind of enjoy the fruits of your labor with your brothers, and it's a beautiful, beautiful time. Two more questions for me. What are you most looking forward to at the parade coming up?
Uh, I would say like just a much bigger version of what we came home to at Schemberger Hall the other day. Um,
Amazing.
like just multiply that by however many, people are going to show up. I know it's going to be cold. Um, so, dress warm, of course. Probably be, I say, 100 students, you know, that might have no shirts on. I know how those guys are.
Yeah, yeah.
The ones that, no matter what, they got the no tee with the paint on. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait. I know it's going to be fun. Our fans always show up and show out, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Last one for me. Um, how do you want to be remembered, man? Like at Michigan, you think about your career. It's a two-part question. How will you remember your time at Michigan? And how do you want us collectively to remember Mikey Sainristil?
Um, for me, how I'm gonna remember being here at Michigan was just the I would say a very important, 5 years of growth um and that's the way I was able to grow off the field is what allowed me to grow on the field. Um and for me this year or the past 2 years outside of Schembecker, like a big reason of my growth is my girlfriend. Like the way she challenges me daily
Yeah,
to, be a better person, allows me to go in that building and be a better person. Um, so just, every year I spent here wasn't a year wasted. It was a
yeah,
year towards something much bigger. Um, and, the way I want to be remembered is just, the unselfish kid from Massachusetts that, came in there with a chip on his shoulder, wanting to get people around him better, um, wanting to get himself better, and, did everything with a purpose, did everything with intent, cared about others. Um, and, just always wanted to see people happy around him and like a true leader. And I hope that, the leaders who come after me aren't scared to lead, whatever that looks like for them.
mm,
Do it the right way, do it with love, do it with care, and just be passionate about the things that it is that you're doing.
to say the least, man. We will definitely remember all that and much, much more. And I've heard it said like, hey, you may not remember specifics, like you may not remember specific details. There'll certainly be some details about your career. The Cade Stover pass breakup in Columbus back in 2022, CJ Stroud to the tight end. That one I'll always remember. The interception there I'll remember. But I was told, the great ones that you remember how they made you feel. And watching you compete, man, watching you, the way you carry yourself, having these conversations with you, how you make me feel is, proud to be an alum, proud to have played at Michigan, um, you know, encouraged for the future too, knowing, hey, Mikey Sainristil, you'll be a leader in the NFL, you'll be a leader beyond that, and you got a little kid on the way, and if I know anything, you'll raise that kid to be an amazing, amazing leader. Just because that's who you are, man. That's the exponential growth on the world. So thanks so much, man, for joining us. Thank you so much for your dedication to the team, to the program, to your craft. You've given Michigan fans joy that probably can't be captured in words, vindication that fully can't be replicated. It's been one of the more fun years to watch. I feel grateful to be in the media space to have been able to cover it and been along for the ride. And you've been first class in every sense of the word. So I appreciate you for being you, man. Enjoy this week. Enjoy this weekend. I wish you the best with your family. I wish you the best as you get ready to turn the page and get ready for combine and pro days. And if there is any NFL team watching, you guys, the tape speaks for itself. As they say, the film don't lie. But Mikey Sainristil will be an asset to your locker room. He might work in your front office one day. He might own the team one day. That's my view on this. So, Mikey, man, I really appreciate you, brother. I wish you the best and have fun this weekend. Good luck going forward, bro.
Appreciate you, Jake.
Yep.